Okay, so you're probably asking, but what happens to me after I die? Like, come on, answer the question already, right? Well, hopefully you've been going through this whole series and letting the ideas soften the belief systems we have about who we are and how life works, and actually letting in the reality of who we are and what life is. So let's look really closely at this question now, and we'll be able to see it from a totally different perspective. So, what happens to me after I die? Take a look at that idea and see how selfish it is. It's just completely me, me, me. What happens to me? And we've been trained this since birth to always think about me, 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 right? So just stop for just 1 second and go, wait a minute. What about everybody else? What happens to everyone else when you die? What about your family? Are they going to be left just in disarray? What about your community? Have you contributed as much to your community as you possibly can while you're alive? And the environment. What have you taken care of? What have you created? So what happens after you die to everyone else? Go even broader. What happens to, you know, your country? You're like, oh, they don't mind. Really? Like you're a part of that, right? Hopefully, we've all contributed to our country as much as we possibly can. What happens to the earth? The earth itself, you are part of the earth. So, how do you blend back in? Is there something that's really lost for the earth and something that's, or something that stays there? Earthness itself. What about the universe? How is the universe affected by you coming in and out of life? And I'm not giving an answer to it. I'm just saying think broader, and you'll immediately see that the human being, you and me, is designed to think in unselfish ways. We can extend ourselves way beyond just the me, me, me that been trained to be in our society. We have a way more vastly interconnectedness to all of existence than our little concepts can come up with and can see. But there's this part of our brain that sees it and knows it, a part of our consciousness that is connected to this vastness of wholeness. What happens to that after you die? Kind of nothing, right? But then kind of everything also, because you matter. So broaden your feelings and your ideas about it. It's something that we can really spend an entire lifetime just contemplating this vastness of everything. There's an idea in our society about a bucket list, right? And think about that. Think about how selfish that is. The bucket list is a list of all the experiences and even things that you want to consume before you die. It's just about consuming, consuming, consuming. I want to make sure I go here and do this, and I want to do that, and me, 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 me. What if our bucket list instead was a list of how much can I contribute to the overall whole of humanity while I'm alive? Like right this very moment, you're watching this video, so I assume you're alive right now, right? We're kind of back to our story of Sheikh Farid, who was asked what happens after I die, and he says, I only know about life. Ask me about life, right? You're alive right now. So this bucket list doesn't need to be this selfish thing. It can be all about our contribution to things. What about all your stuff? What happens to all your stuff when you die? Do we really think about that? I mean, we are like one of the first generations in the history of forever who just has so much stuff that really, when people die, taking care of their stuff is a big, huge problem. This is just fantasy, of course, but imagine when you die, if all your stuff dies with you and just boom, all the metals go back into the mines and all the plastic goes back into the dinosaurs. And it would be this huge recycling of stuff. Of course, that doesn't happen, but what if we lived our lives in that way, so that all of our stuff is like this blending with the earth, just the same way as we get deeper into it, we see that I am nothing more than this amazing blending with the earth. Just kind of a little exercise to look at, who are we? Why are we here? What are we really doing? So now we're kind of back to our chapter, our video on Erman Irim, where we were talking about the total trust that we can have in existence itself. And you'll notice this question, what happens to me when I die? What happens to me when I die? Comes from complete lack of trust that it's all put together the way that it should be. But if we understand this Erman Irim, we understand this vast container of life that we are all part of, and we're part of the creation, and we're also part of the taking care of creation. Erman Irim, Erman Irim, this vast interconnectedness of everything, where when you touch it, when you see it, then you have complete trust in how everything works. And from that level of trust, this question is just like literally moot, right? What happens? The thing that's supposed to happen happens. You're like, oh, you're still avoiding the question. Well, let's get a little further into it then. So now, think about it. You die. What died? Obviously, your body did, right? But what this question is about is, what is this me? What is this me that's dying? This me is your projection. So now think back to the series that we did on projecting into the mirror, how we have been trained, since we don't know who we are, we constantly project ourselves onto things that are outside of us. And so think about some of our ideas that we have about what happens when you die. A perfect one is going to heaven. It's never just you by yourself floating, in the universe. You go to heaven and there's clouds and there's people playing harps, and, maybe St. Peter is meeting you at the gate, and all your dogs come running and all the people that you love. Notice how that it's this totally projected field of imagination that you have outside of yourself. And so all these things are happening, but what's missing actually is you. You there. Your projection, the clouds and the harps and can you kind of see that? How we've projected this idea. And so what is this me who's sitting there with all these clouds and these harps and everything? Really, it's kind of just all your memories is kind of what you want to stay there, right? But just picture yourself. You're dead, and you're floating around in this, however you picture it. And notice that you're still just seeing the thing. You're not experiencing the one that's seeing it. And this is what we're trying to bring ourselves to in this die before you die, because if you can bring yourself out of your projection into who you are, then the question again is moot, because it's just totally obvious. Think about our projection onto the universe. We've turned God now into the universe. Instead of praying to God, now we pray to the universe, or we hope that the universe is going to do things for us. But think about it. The universe, this vast, vast, all the stars and all the planets and all the galaxies. I mean, we're talking this huge, vast, unknown thing that's full of void, and it's full of, materials and, stars floating around. And this universe is really floating around and worried about whether or not you get a new car. This universe is really worried about your relationships. Pro tip, those are your responsibility, your relationships. Is the universe really sitting there and wondering whether or not you're learning your lesson? No, that's just this huge projection. We've turned this universe kind of into a thing, right? And then we imagine that that universe has its focus on me. Again, selfish, 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 because this is how we've been trained. Me, always thinking about me. But you, human being, your nature is to see way beyond that. And you'll kind of notice, as far as neuroscience is concerned, when we're just thinking about the me, and we're thinking about concepts, we're using this very small part of our brain. I mean, I think they actually found out that, this thinking bit is like just a little tiny piece of the brain. What is the whole rest of the thing for? The whole rest of the thing is to see the vastness of existence without all the definitions even needed. We're totally built to understand in a wisdom sort of a way the vastness of this experience of life that's happening. So I'm weaving back from me to vastness. And now we're in this vastness. So let's think, what happens to me after I die? Kind of from this place of vastness. And now imagine yourself in a field of just absolute nothing. Because if we put anything there at all, right, we project onto it. So the only way to come back to ourselves is to put ourselves in this vast field of absolutely nothing. And if you notice things happening in this field, then remove them. You're in the universe. You see stars. Oh, take them away. Maybe there's a solar wind blowing. Take it away. What about the spaceship you used to get there? Take it away. Just you floating in this vast, absolute nothingness. Now at this point, all that's left now, the only thing you can notice is yourself. Just you in this vastness. Now who are you? Step into it. Notice you're the one that's alive. The second you touch yourself, this is a thing that can never die. This is die before you die, when you've touched this, when you've stepped into it and become it. So now, at this point, it's like, so human being, what am I? So what then do I have to contribute? Like nothing, right? There's this vast nothingness. It's like, what am I going to give the universe? Well, I can't give it a car, right? The universe doesn't need a car. I can't give it a rock. This is why Native societies tell us that ceremony and praise for creation is the job of human beings. So really, what can you give? You can give appreciation. And it's best to do that with some sort of a ceremony. And you can come up, you might not have ancestor ceremonies of your own. So you can come up with your own. You see a rock and you just touch it. Instead of picking up, it's like, thank you. See a tree. Thank you. Get together with people and celebrate. Do everything that you can to bring people together, because the more we come together, the more we want to celebrate. That's literally what dancing and singing is created for, right? Dancing, singing, creation with people, not sitting in front of your computer watching a video, with actual people. Giving back, celebrating, simple ceremonies. Every once in a while, hopefully sitting with other people and somehow praying together. This is why I like the dances of universal peace, because we get together, we get in a circle, and we simply pray, mostly singing songs that really don't mean anything to us, because we use a lot of mantras and non-English, non-language things. Then, in the end, we're kind of back to Erman Irim again, where what we are is we're the protector of the womb. Because all of us watching this video, reading this book, all of us are full-ass grown adults at this time. Our job is to be the protectors now, to come together with as many people as possible. So, what happens when you die? Nothing. Not a whole lot is changed. Hopefully you haven't left a big, huge mess. If that's the case, then somebody's got to clean it up, right? Hopefully, what happens when you die? What matters is what's left. What's left is all the care that you have extended throughout your life. So we've all got a really big job to do, don't we? Because we are alive right this minute. What are you going to do the very next second when this video ends?